Cool. Yeah. Hey guys, Khalid from Cricket Fanatics magazine. Yeah, and it's our first live stream with Zubayr Hamza. Sorry for us being a little bit late. We ran through a bit of technical glitches over there, but we live now. Zubi, first of all, let's start with the lockdown itself. What has it been like? What are you getting up to?
It's been alright. It's getting a bit long now, so it's boredom starting to strike. Constantly
Mm.
being on the move versus on lockdowns, two opposite sides of the spectrum. Yeah, just been chilling, watching series, studying a bit, playing some games, and working out. That's been the four things I've kind of done so far. What is it? What day is it of lockdown? I think it's is it 8 or 9?
I don't know even know.
Starting to
You
lose
guys can comment
your
below.
time.
Let us let us know what day it is. I don't even know what days it is anymore. um, with regards to like games, you said you play some PlayStation. What sort of games are you into?
Um, I don't have FIFA, but I'm into FIFA. But I've played all the games that I've got so far is more like adventure action games. So I've played Uncharted, God of War. Um, recently played Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs was the other one. So those are
Also
the
cool.
games I've kind of played so far. But I don't think I'm not good at the shooting games. To be fair, like I need to get into it somehow.
Yeah, I think it's practice because I'm also putrid at it. Because I mean, I see some guys Call of Duty kill to death ratios of 2 and 1, and I'm like, yo, like how do you guys even manage this? I was
Exactly.
like, I don't know, I'm dead. But I think it's practice. Practice makes perfect, just like in cricket, I guess. So with regards to like training and stuff, when you're training regime, etc., um, what do you get up to? What sort of tips can you give to young cricketers, etc.?
Um, for me, growing up training consistently has been a challenge. I know a lot of guys go through high school and a lot of their friends are training in the gym often and they kind of build up a routine. And for me, that I kind of missed that boat.
Mm.
So, in terms of training, it would be to eat well and to kind of draw up a program that will benefit you and your body type and kind of what you can do as an individual and then do that training regime consistently, which I've kind of struggled to do in the past. I mean, it's tough. It's easier to do pre-season or out of season, and then season comes and you're traveling all the time, and you've got different schedules to kind of keep up with, and then training consistently becomes tough. But this lockdown's kind of helped me to slowly start building up that habit again.
Yeah. And with regards to cricket, because I mean, we got some videos from some players that are showing us what they do, like in the backyard, etc. If you have a big enough backyard, of course. But with wicket keepers, for example, they throw the ball against the wall and catch with a tennis ball. I'm sure you can get someone, maybe like a family member, to throw you a few balls, etc., for wicket keeping. Leon Bota, spoke to him yesterday, and he spoke to me and he told me, yeah, you get someone to just give him the old school throwdowns, like underarm throwdowns for him to just practice his strokes. Are you doing any of those? Are those good things to actually practice to keep your skills like up to scratch?
I'm sure they are. I'm sure those things can benefit you. But I can only speak from my own kind of point of view, and I haven't done any of that so far in the past week and a bit. At times, also, I feel for me, it's good to kind of take a break away from cricket.
Mm.
Um, Obviously, not a long, extended break, but a break where you're taking like 2 months out the game. But to take a week off here and there is not a bad option. Kind of just refresh your mind. A lot of the game, it's mentally taxing. So to kind of get away from the game for a bit is good. But then also you don't want a situation where you're not playing cricket and then you kind of a bit rusty come when when the opportunity comes to play again. So for me, especially last year, I felt like I didn't play enough cricket in the off season, um, and I feel like it took a bit longer to get the rust off. Whereas if you're consistently training, consistently as a batter or bowler, getting time out in the middle, I feel that that benefits you. Come, for example, the start of the season or the start of your season, you, depending on what level you're playing at and what schedule
Yeah,
you follow.
that's awesome. So, like, I want to start a little bit and have a chat with you because I don't think we've ever done an interview about the start of your career since I've started this platform. So, to this fans, to these fans, just talking about the beginning of your career, how you got into cricket, etc. Obviously, I spoke to Ash, and he was telling me about mental strength and everything, and I mentioned your name to him, and he agreed with me the fact that your journey was quite difficult and the way you built it. So let's just start with the beginning for you and how you got into cricket and your journey so far.
To start, the very beginning would be just mucking around, whether it's on the beach, on any grass with friends as a toddler. Um, that that would just be for the pure fun of it. It would last like 10 minutes, then you get disinterested again, and then you move on to the next sport. So, growing up, I was into different sports: football, cricket, and hockey, predominantly those three sports. And I enjoyed playing all three of them. And then I got to a point where it was about uh, probably in grade 3, where you kind of have to take up. I think you're like 8 years old. Yeah, you have to take up a sport in the summer and the winter.
Mm,
So cricket was the only sport there was that I could really play. I mean, I wasn't into tennis or any of those sports. And then you start off playing like Baker's mini cricket, stuff like that, and got to grade 4 when it's like hardball. I think you get introduced to hardball at that age. Um, and fortunately, I had already been playing hardball cricket with the local club, Primrose Cricket Club, which
yeah.
I was more of a kind of for my family, for my parents, like kind of get me off their shoulders for half of the weekend by letting me play cricket on a Saturday, and all of my dad's friends kind of had sons that were playing cricket at the club, so it was kind of a, how can I say it, a default option for him really to just let me go and play some sport on a Saturday. And then I got to a stage where you couldn't play Saturdays because for the school, you ended up playing Saturdays, so you play Saturday cricket for the school. Um, And I started at a young age understanding that I could actually kind of play the game to some level.
Mm,
Um, and I just kept through it. I mean, fortunately, I was given the opportunity to play Western Province throughout the age groups. So what was it? Under 11, under 13, 15, 17, 19. And I think because I was consistently in those teams, I kind of built up a reputation. But
mm,
personally, I don't think I kind of performed that potential at the time. Um, I'd go to the provincial weeks and I'd take part in it, but I wouldn't really stand out above the rest. It would just be, oh, you in the top half of better performers for the week. Um, so yeah, I don't think I really like stood out as much as I could have throughout the schooling years. But I definitely enjoyed it. And then it came to time, I think it was under 18. Um, and it's like, okay, I'm playing cricket really well and I'm playing hockey very well. So it's like, what to decide? Um, and I enjoyed both sports. Um, but throughout the years, I felt a bit of a kind of an influence more towards cricket. Um,
mm,
and yeah, like it came to a point where I was first year out of school. Did alright at the provincial under 19 week. Didn't
Yeah.
score many runs in the Cubs week. Got left out the World Cup side, which was
So,
slightly disappointing. But to be fair, I don't feel like I performed well enough to kind of to kind of get the head or kind of get the nod above some of the guys that were chosen based on performances that week. Um, so then it's like, okay, yes, you're not even in the SA under 19 side. Like, how are you gonna
yeah.
make it now, kind of thing. Um, and fortunately for me, I played quite a lot of club cricket up till then. Playing second team Primrose, 15, first team for the Primrose side, and it kind of opened my eyes to a different way of playing the game and how hard the game can actually be, and kind of the values that you require to become successful in the game. So
Mm.
just out of school, the guys were busy at the World Cup. Fortunately, we won that World Cup, so
Yeah.
so it made a difference. And I was playing a club match, and I saw this guy, big bull, um, specs on from the side of the field, and I was like, okay, don't know who that guy is. Later on, found out that was Faik David, who
Wow.
was the province coach at the time. Um, and he was kind of scouting. And I mean, you don't see that often nowadays where the provincial coaches go out to club matches and watch players play cricket. So maybe that is something that we can bring back into the sport. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, then fortunately, a couple of weeks later, I got an opportunity to play for the province side. So on the one hand, it
Yeah.
was a bit of a tough one, tough pill to swallow, not making the World Cup side. But then it brought about a different opportunity, which was at a higher level. Well, if you could call it a higher level in the bigger scheme of things. So to play for the provincial men's side was a kind of that gave me a break into making that side because other guys were gone. Fortunately, the second game in took took that opportunity to score better runs, and uh, yeah. And then, to be fair, it was never ever a smooth road. We won the 3 day comp
Yeah.
that season, but that was only my second game, so I didn't feel like I was part of it completely, albeit that I performed in the so-called final. Um, Next year came, first game, well, I think I scored 90 odd that game in the finals. Then the next year came, didn't, first game came up, I think it was against KZN, and then the Cobras guys were back, so guys like Stian, Vansel, Andrew
Yeah.
Patik was back. So then for what you thought was okay, here's an opportunity to start the season with the team. You then get left out of the squad, and then it's like okay, you can understand it because guys come back. Then the next game we went to Namibia. I scored quite I think it was a double time that game. So then I thought, okay, yes, I'm set in the province side, which was like a major milestone for me. Um, and then a couple of games later, those guys come back down, and then you're out the squad again. So it's like at that time, it was really hard to break into the squad completely without taking your chance in the first, let's call it 2 or 3 matches that you got. So that was kind of how it was back then. Um, Played a couple of seasons for the province side. I think 2 or 3. I think it was 3 seasons for the province side. Um, was the back end captain the side a bit, so that was like it helped in terms of experience being a 21-year-old kid, kind of captaining guys that were a lot older than me, or more
Yeah.
experienced. More experience, more importantly. Um, Came the following season, and the first game into the season, I managed to get an opportunity in the Cobra side. Um, 4 games. I think I scored 150 in the 4 games. Didn't score many runs. dropped after 4 games. Um, Played for the province side for the rest of the season. Hardly scored runs for the province side, so it was a pretty tough season.
Yeah,
Um, and then, like during the off season, it was like, okay, how do I score? How do I kind of build confidence without playing matches? Because in the off season, like if you finish on a low, it's hard to then be confident the start of the next season,
yeah,
unless like you go through some pretty mental, like pretty important mental changes. So for me, it was kind of building confidence, or building self belief to then build confidence in
yeah,
myself. Um,
okay.
so a lot of like self positive talk happened that off season, and then I understood that obviously I dropped in the waiting order, in the pecking order for opportunities. So
Mm.
um, the next season came, franchise season. First game I wasn't part of the squad. Second game I was part of the traveling squad, so I wasn't gonna play, but I was just gonna travel
Yeah,
with the team, kind of carry drinks and stuff. And then unfortunately was for another guy. Fortunately for me, there was an injury the morning of, well, the day before, but the morning of the game it was announced. Um, and I had played no cricket, real cricket, besides warm up games prior to that.
mm,
And then fortunately took the opportunity. I scored 100 that game and never really looked back in terms of the 4 day side. Um, had a very good season that year. The next year, decent season, and then like a few big knocks. So I understood that it's never ever going to be consistently scoring 50s. It's going to be um, kind of cashing in when you get the opportunity to score a big one.
yeah,
Because there's going to be a lot of failures in between, in and around those big scores. Um, so yeah, that was important. And then another challenge was um, then kind of breaking through consistently into the 1 day side, and that took a good couple of seasons to kind of break into the side and understand my game well enough, and kind of bat more focused on my strengths as opposed to my weaknesses.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, fortunately, I had a good 1 day comp this year. T20s, I haven't really played many games. I believe I can obviously play a role in the T20 format. Um, so yeah, it's just about kind of earning that opportunity to get a gig um, in the T20 format. And yeah, I recently had my first experience in the test squad. It was tough mentally, um, but I still remain positive. I enjoyed this experience as a whole, like in terms of the squad, the management. They're very accommodating, respectful, and kind of everyone had a common goal. It's just pity for me it didn't go my way in terms
yeah,
of performances. But that's cricket. It's part
yeah,
and parcel of the game. You got to take the highs with the lows, and you kind of have to work hard to earn that opportunity back. And that's kind of where I am at the moment. Um, I'm enjoying playing for the Cobras. I think we had a tough season, yes, in terms of performances, overall performances as a team. We had a tough season, and it's unfortunate. Um, but yeah, we continue to work on. Hopefully, we'll all be on a better in a better mindset going into the next season.
yeah. Because I mean, I remember chatting to you after your difficult, obviously after that difficult test series, etc., against England, etc. And the thing that stood out to me about you and was how positive you remained, man. Like even though that it was tough for you, and a lot of young players will crumble under that type of pressure after having poor performances or struggling to get going. That's where the mental toughness comes in again. And there was a question I asked Ashwell where I told him, "Is it possible for people for it to be coached? Is it possible for mental strength to be coached?" And he said he does try to give tips and to show you guys how to think mentally, but some of those things are intrinsic. But with regards to guys like you and Calvin Rayner and George Linder and Jason Smith, all the when you guys are kind of like the experienced youngsters in the side now for going forward. How do you guys plan on passing on that mental strength that you guys have shown consistently to the other players that are coming new into the side and the youngsters coming into the side?
So on the one hand, yes, Ashwell has been very good with kind of developing a sort of mental toughness. On the other hand, it's up to the individual to then take that on board, because a large part of the game, or the hard parts of the game, is where underperformance then kind of brings along scrutiny, and then you have to then deal with that scrutiny. Which is just the reality of the game. So um, I'd say mental toughness, kind of resilience in that department is a big part of trying to perform successfully and consistently, is how to get out of those kind of troughs in performance. With regards to the squad, the Cobra squad this season, I think, yes, we look, when Ashwell first started, that was about 3 years ago, and he took on a side that was, well, us as a squad was very inexperienced to a point, slightly immature as well. Um, and we kind of played for 3 years under the mantra that we were youngsters, we
Mm,
learning the game. So the pressures of the game for those 2 3 years was slightly then diluted, because we felt like we were the youngsters, we were playing with nothing to lose. Um, we were playing fearless cricket because, um, to an extent, you could have said we were the underdogs based on
yeah,
inexperience. So then we could then play that type of cricket where, um, we didn't care who we were playing against. We were going to play our style of cricket, and that then brought about decent performances throughout the season. And I would say the 2 seasons prior to this one was good seasons in terms of performances. It was just about having that kind of mental toughness, experience, clarity of mind, and thought processes in terms of game plans. Those were the parts where we just weren't good enough
yeah,
to then kick on in terms
mm,
of winning the 4 day comp in the last. But whereas we had to be more clinical in the fifth or sixth round of that comp, or then kind of winning semi-finals, because we just we didn't click, we didn't kind of switch on to that higher level of thinking. Um, and then comes now to this point in time, and it's like, okay, we're no longer the kind of kids that we were three
mm,
years ago. We've got 3 years of experience under our belts, playing at franchise level. Some of us went on to stay up higher up, at the national side. Um, and then now, because you're at this level of experience, it's like, okay, you should then perform and know how to then, or you should have figured out a way by now to have then qualified for finals, stuff like that, or win a competition. So that then brings about different pressures. Um, and I feel like we just weren't good enough in majority of the games this season in terms of the white ball comp, and in terms of the red ball comp. I wasn't there for majority of the season, um, so I'm not exactly sure. I believe that some of the games we were in driving positions, or majority of the games, the team was in a position to then influence the game into our kind of corner, and
yeah,
then half a session and then you throw the game and the momentum away to the opposition kind of thing.
True.
So it then becomes about finding the right balance this season in terms of individual and individuals understanding the game plan, and also like a collective focus in terms of the squad as a whole.
Mm.
And I believe that the squad this season we've lost quite a few guys in the squad. Um, they've obviously made choices to then benefit their careers. Um, but then again, there's been guys that have come to us to then benefit those guys in careers as well. So I feel in terms of the squad, um, I think we have a well balanced squad and a squad that's fairly youthful in terms of age. But I still believe that majority of us have had about 3-4 years of experience at franchise level, and I think that's
Yeah.
important that we all kind of have a similar um, amount of experience throughout the squad. I
Yeah.
understand that maybe there's two guys in our squad that haven't played franchise cricket yet, um, and there's a few guys that have been in and out of franchise sides. Um, but I think if we kind of establish a common goal and throughout the formats, I feel like the team will then, the basis of the squad will then complement itself with
Yeah.
different combinations throughout the season, different
Yeah.
formats as well.
So the next question, I'm going to combine it with one of the comments. So we got Lee Joe Fontaine here that gave you two questions, but it kind of goes together in a way because it's a question that I also wanted to ask you. So it's she wants to know the difference between obviously Test cricket and the domestic cricket, and obviously the gap between the two, and what you think of the standard of cricket, obviously in four-day cricket compared to Test cricket, and how much is playing four-day cricket? How much will it strengthen our Test cricket in the country?
Four-day cricket's important to start off with. On one hand, you could get, because South African pitches in general aren't the, the easiest wickets to bat or bowl on in some instances. Um, I feel that at times you can either win a 4-day game in 2.5 days, or you're gonna be battling to get a win by drawing the game on the fourth day after tea. So 4-day cricket's tough. It requires a different skill set, uh, different level of mental aptitude, if I could call it that. Um, and I definitely think it would benefit the national side if more players start playing 4-day cricket. The difference between the two, for one, you start playing in front of a bit of a crowd. That's just the
Yeah.
aesthetic differences between the two. You start playing in front of a crowd. You start playing with your country's badge on your shirt. Um, you're representing 60 million people. So there's different pressures that come with playing at national level just to start off with. Um, the next level, the next, or the other different things is there's a high level of uh, performance that's expected. Um, you have to deal with a lot of scrutiny if you underperform.
Mm.
Um, and the only people that you can sort of rely on at that time is, for example, family, your friends, if you have a mentor, and then the guys that's in the changing room, staff and players. Those are the only people you can then rely on when the times are going tough. But at that level, it becomes difficult because at one, you trying to then solidify a spot in the side. Um, but on the other hand, you also have to help the guy next to you, because even though he might be a competition, you're both fighting for a spot to represent your country. and to represent millions of South Africans. So there's a lot of differences between the two. Um, in terms of play, uh, people are a lot less disciplined. You come up against bowling attacks that are experienced, and for example, all four seamers and the spinner are top quality bowlers, and then you come against a batting lineup that is rock solid from number one to eight. So if you think about it, it is genuinely you're playing against the best players of another country, and you guys have to then be the best players in your country to then represent it. So it's the highest form of cricket. It's the toughest. Um, and throughout the years that you kind of work on your skill set at domestic level, you can't then go and learn something new for the next day's game kind of thing. It's about trusting your skill
Yeah.
set and then having the self belief and the mental ability to then deal with whatever is coming at you the next day or game day. Um, and unfortunately, I didn't deal with the skill set part 100%, but I think I've kind of reflected on my game, and a large part of it had to do with just being disciplined as a batter and having a rock solid game plan that I could then understand would only benefit me, kind of thing. So that's kind of where I am at the moment.
Yeah. So the consensus, so from my opinion, Ashwell and Mark, they are kind of very similar in the ways of how mentally tough they are. When they played for the Proteas, Ashwell also told me that he used to come in a lot at number 5 and number 6, picking up the pieces when there was a collapse, etc., and having to build partnerships together, the two of them. So they're both very, very mentally tough people, and they like to um, kind of put that upon their team, etc., and try to teach that to the teams. Can you maybe give me some similarities or some differences between now that you've worked with both Mark Boucher and with Ashwell Burns?
Um, it's different because I've only worked under Mark Boucher for a couple months, for example, versus Ashwell for a few years. So to start off with, just batting in general, there was just in terms of what you said about Ashwell then batting at five and having to kind of pick up the slack for the team. Just on that, wherever you are batting, there's different challenges that come with it. So Ashwell maybe perhaps would have preferred to bat at four. Maybe it comes with different challenges though. Opening the batting versus batting at seven as a keeper that you have to bat to the tail. So those are different scenarios that you have to deal with. Okay, opener is a bit different because every time you have to face the opening bowlers with the new
Yeah,
ball kind of thing. But you could come in the second ball if you bat at three, you could be 50 for four and you're batting at six. So there's different scenarios that make batting tough, and the same with bowling. About the difference between the two coaches, um, to be fair, they're both honest, which for me is the biggest attribute that you can have as a coach. That obviously stands above communication, which is important. And as a player, you always want to understand where you are as a player and where in the pipeline you sit and what's expected of you. Um, to be fair, it's hard to tell you the differences between the two. Ashwell's Ashwell's got a they're both particularly hard, if you want to call it that, and honest. So they won't be afraid to tell you the brutal truth about it, which I think is important. But obviously, playing under Ashwell for 3 years, um, you can understand certain um, or the way he goes about certain things because at a large part is kind of frustration with the team where we've kind of underperformed, and that as a coach, then you have to then take the slack of that, which is one of the toughest things based on the performance of your players. So I wouldn't say he's he's the reason why we are underperforming. You know what I'm saying? It's based on the
Yeah.
players, but the coaches then pick up the slack for that. Um, yeah, it's hard to tell you specific differences because I don't think they've kind of differed too much. Um, Even though I've played under Mark for a short amount of time. Um, but yeah, I can understand uh, the kind of coaching style that Ashwell brings to the party, um, and then obviously the things that he has to deal with as a coach because of just things that happen in the game or the way we've played or kind of outside issues that he's had to deal with. So it's tough for both players and the coach because the coach then takes the scrutiny for poor performance by players, um, and that's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles. Really, it's tough.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know. This might be a little bit hard to answer, but I think you have been with the Proteas long enough to maybe give us a little bit of a hint. But it's a pity that you were in two scenarios where it was a bit tricky with regards to the team, the way the team was. They weren't doing that well when you were in the side. We were losing matches, but away from that, knowing the guys for the time that you have, who are the like fun guys, jokey guys in the changing room or outside cricket that you turn to have a little bit of fun with, and like maybe give me some some stories that you have for us that will make us laugh a bit, you know.
Are you talking about the national side?
The national side.
Look, I haven't really spent much time with him outside of cricket per se because I mean we're all from different parts of the
Yeah,
country. But when we were on tour in India, for example, or on tour uh, locally against the English side, um, I would say the funny characters are Dean Alger to start off with. Um, Enjoy spending my time around him because he's a bit of a clown, but also like he gives a few jabs every now and then, and he can take it, which is important when it comes to banter. Um, KG is really funny. Faf is funny. Aiden I get along with quite well because I mean we're similar age. Um,
yeah,
there's a few guys I can't really get to all of them, but I mean a lot of the guys I can get along well with because of certain personality traits. Um, and I mean they're all fun guys. I mean, obviously on the cricket field it's all serious and you're playing for something more than just a game of cricket. But off the
yeah,
field, I mean, Lungi and Gidi is one of them as well. Off the field,
yeah,
they're pretty chilled. They're normal human beings that likes to chill in their room, watch series, talk nonsense, go out to have supper. There's nothing, there's nothing extraordinary about them. I mean, we're all human beings, to be fair. So, um, funny stories I can't really get to right now. But a large amount of them probably happens in the changing room. And I mean, some of the guys go on nights out, which I haven't really been involved in, but um, I'm sure there's a few good stories there.
yeah. So a little bit more about you because I want the fans to actually get to know you better as a person. So can you maybe give me some of your cheat stuff that you like to, some of your guilty pleasures, for example, that you like to get yourself into?
Guilty
What sort of
pleasures.
fast food? Uh,
Uh,
guilty pleasures, like yeah, guilty pleasures where we like, for example, in movie terms, we use guilty pleasures as in you'll go to a certain movie that doesn't maybe go with your personality. So like people wouldn't expect you to like it. Like for example, High School Musical. People weren't to expect me to like it, but I enjoyed it a lot when I was growing up and still today. So
we
that's
should
a
TV
guilty.
Saturday, I think. High School Musical was on TV the other day. Movie wise, I enjoy going to the cinema. I'll never go alone though. That's not my vibe. It's more of a social event. Um, what I'd
I
order at
agree.
the movies, what I'd order at the movies is large popcorn, a large drink, and maybe whispers. That would
Mm.
be, and I'd sure I'd clean the popcorn up to be fair. um, and I enjoy watching animations and horrors. So that would
Mm.
be my two. And then obviously, I mean, you wouldn't watch like a Marvel movie at home. I'd watch it in the cinema rather. Um,
Okay.
no, I'd rather watch a Marvel movie in the cinema.
Just for the sick
It's
ladies
more like,
around.
you know what I'm saying. So yeah, I enjoy horror movies. Lately, I've been watching a lot of series. Series I've been watching has been wow, a lot. Um, you see, I've watched Peaky Blinders. I've watched
That's
Money Heist,
amazing.
which I believe is out now again, the fourth season. So I'll probably
I need
watch
to
that.
start that again. I need to start that. I haven't watched that yet.
I've watched Breaking Bad, Vikings. I've watched a lot of series, to be fair. Guilty pleasures in terms of food. I'm trying to stay healthy now because I mean during the
Mm.
season you can't. It's hard to keep a
Yep.
good diet. I mean, you go to some places and there's no real like you play a long day's cricket. You're not really gonna wait and sit down at the restaurant to have a healthy meal. You go kind of get takeaway somewhere or something
Mm.
just quick that you can go chill back in your hotel room. Um, so yeah, fast food is bad throughout the season, but it happens pretty frequently.
Yeah.
Chocolate. I'm more into chocolate than I am into like sweets and stuff, so that's bad. Uh, um, in music, I love all different types of music. Don't really listen to much country and Afrikaans though. Um, so yeah, and I'm not really into like the heavy like techno trance vibe. I'm more into like some rap, some deep house. Um, so yeah, that's kind of been the vibe so far.
I've been
And
trying
yeah,
to get you into machine for months now.
into
Machine Gun Kelly. I've been trying to get you into him for months
oh
now.
yeah,
It's some-
Zubayr Hamza. What else is there? I enjoy just hanging out like with friends. Really,
yeah.
we'll go out to a few places, have supper, lunch, whatever. Um, I'm more of a winter guy than a summer guy. Um, maybe it's because I spend most of the summer out on the field somewhere, but more of a winter guy than a summer guy. And I'm a June baby, so that's why I enjoy the cold. um, yeah, I'm pretty chill to be fair. A lot of the time I'm on the cricket field. Other than that, it's with friends and family. Just chilling out, spending time together. It's hard to kind of find a balance throughout the season. To kind of balance different parts of your life. And I'm studying this year. Well, continuing my studies through UNISA, so kind of have to balance that in as well. So that's going to be. Fortunately, this lockdown has been helping a bit.
And if you were not a cricketer, what would you have done if you weren't a cricketer?
Um, I'm studying accounting, so I'm into business. Um, but if I wasn't a cricketer, I would have probably like chosen something random that not many people are doing. It definitely wouldn't be an angler. My dad enjoys fishing. I can't stand. It's two different types of patience, really. Sitting on a cricket field waiting for a wicket, or standing with a fishing rod and waiting for a fish to bite. So yeah, it's different. I'd probably want to work in Sure. Not fitness. I don't think I'm into it that much. Uh, Something cool, like either like film or no, this is like outside of business, which would probably be my first choice, but probably film or like try and work as like a physio or something like that.
Okay, cool. Very different industries, but okay. I'm gonna
Yeah,
continue. I'm gonna
I don't really
thank you.
have a complete skill set that will give me a whole
Yeah,
lot of options. To be fair, it's either it's sport or it's business or it's something random like the other two for me.
cool. I'm gonna continue with the questions here. We've got another one from Dean Pinto. What is it like to face Jimmy Anderson on the morning of a test match?
Um, a lot of the time when I play cricket, I kind of not psych myself out, but psych myself up. So I kind of mentally elevate myself to believe that whatever, whoever's in front of me, I can deal with it. Um, Obviously, it's daunting on one hand because you're playing against guys that have been in the international game for 10 plus years. But on the other hand, it's like what an experience that you might never get again, kind of thing. So it was exciting yet nerve wracking, uh, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. It was a good experience at the end of the day. It's a quality bowler, and I kind of have a bit of white line fever to an extent. It doesn't show in terms of aggression, but it might show in terms of calmness to an extent, if I can say it that way. So yeah, I try and stay as calm as I can and give nothing away facially to or body in terms of my body language to the opposition bowlers.
Yeah,
So yeah.
that Palmy Army was loud. We traveled around the country to and every single place they went to, they were just in numbers. What was it like being on the field and listening to that? Those guys singing "Shake It
Um,
Up." Wow.
yeah. Uh, it's it's nice because there's a bit of an atmosphere to the environment, which is it could be just a normal cricket stadium where people are just cheering or clapping quietly, but I mean that gives a different dynamic to a cricket game that you never really thought you'd play in. So if I would play just playing in a game where there's a Barmy army or playing in India where all of those fans are just like shouting out loud. Well, I think the recent the Proteas supporters, the Guija squad, they were also there in Joburg, I think. So playing in front of fans is just um, it's special because a large part of your life you play the game without anyone watching besides your teammates, parents on the side of the field, kind of thing. So um, it's special. It's a special environment to play in, and it kind of just adds something extra to what would be uh, just a international game of cricket, for example. So yeah, I think the first experience I had with the Barmy Army was walking out. I think they bought all the seats underneath the Pretoria, the Centurion
Hmm.
change. So the Barmy Army was there, and I think the first time I walked out the bat, um, one of the guys was like, "See you in 5" or something like that, or like "See you back" or "See you now" kind of thing. Um, and that it's just a different dynamic to then kind of compete with and enjoy. Um,
Yeah.
extent. So yeah.
So, the toughest thing for me was as a journalist covering those games, especially in Johannesburg, when it was obviously the final one, and they invited us. A lot of the journalists and the guys that are in charge of the Barmy Army, they invited us over to their like function to celebrate everything, obviously, and the end of the tour, etc. The difficult part is when you walk out of that stadium, man, you singing half of the songs. They're so bloody catchy.
Yeah,
Singing it.
it
The,
sounds very
the,
good.
The biggest torture for me was to be there at that event with all of them are singing together as an army, celebrating this test victory. I just came off a phone call from I was on the radio uh, over there in Cape Talk over there. I mean not Cape Talk, but whatever the talk station over there is in Johannesburg. And after that, you come off here, you're talking about the difficulties of Test cricket, you're talking about where people went wrong, and etc. And then you're hearing this guy singing "Shake It Up, Woody" now, and all that crap, loud on repeat, and it was quite tough for us to handle that. It was crazy. There's another question here which I also asked you. I think I've asked you this before, off the record, but people compare you to, obviously automatically they compare you to Hashim Amla coming in at number 3, being Muslim, etc. Cobra's connection as well a little bit. Do you see any similarities between yourself and Ash?
Um, I can't really say I'm like Hashim Amla because there's only one Hashim Amla to start off with. He's an, one of my heroes in the game. Um, and he's achieved a tremendous amount for South African cricket. So for me to instantly compare myself to Hashim Amla, I don't feel that's right on my part because, albeit that I look up to him, I can't say I'm like him, like in terms of what I've achieved, for example. Yes, we do have similarities, and there's certain things that I look up to in him, like his humility and his faith and his kind of firmness in that, and the way he played the game. Um, but there are also differences between the two of us. Yeah, we both batted 3, um, but we obviously gonna have unique differences between the two of us in terms of people to start off with, and in terms of playing style. So for me, if other people then decide to compare me to him, I can only feel kind of honored, really, because they're comparing me to one of the best batters that South Africa's ever seen. So I'll take that hands down. But yeah, I look up to the guy. He's one of my
Yeah.
heroes in the game, and I'm sure he is a hero to plenty other South African cricketers. So yeah, I mean he's a good guy. You can only ever say good things about him as a person, as a cricketer. Um, so why would I kind of turn down that comparison? I can only
Hmm.
then strive to achieve what he's achieved in the game, kind of thing.
That's one of the biggest regrets for me. Not regrets, but a kind of letdowns for me is like that's the one cricketer that I haven't spoken to yet in an interview. Like I was once, like on the way to the airport, on our way back to the airport from the Cricket South Africa Awards, Keshav gave us a lift to the back to the airport, and he was sitting in the front seat there with I was sitting next to him, and so we were in the car together, all chatting and stuff. So that was my only interaction really with Ash. I never actually got to interview him ever, and it's obviously one of my dream interviews to have.
You should have asked
I
him
should
in
be,
a you could interview.
yeah. So I would throw in another question from my side quickly. Because I'm on a search at the moment around the world, asking a lot of different people about our test cricket. Because my thing is that in the white ball formats, we're a little bit better at preparing. I feel okay. Yes, we fall apart in World Cups. It has happened quite a bit of times. We know that the choker thing mantle is over our heads all the time. But I'm talking specifically about test cricket because I think that's the best format in my eyes. It still is today. It's the format that I enjoy the most. But when I speak to a lot of different type of people around the world, etc., about cricket and how they improve their test cricket. So we've got like I look at the county system. The county system has so many teams, 2 different leagues. They play so much cricket. There's so many teams, so youngsters get a chance at a younger age, and it's club counties. So you go over to a place like India, 32 teams. It's people who are playing at 16 years old. They're already playing the longest format. We used to have something apparently in our country where it was the longer format at school level, 3-day competitions, under 19 competitions that people used to play 3-day comps from a young age, and they were getting used to the longer format. I want to ask you about varsity cricket because we know that you played for UWC, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the UWC and how varsity cricket can help us. Does it help us at all in improving our cricket in the country?
Um, I think yes, to an extent, because it gives players a platform to then show what they can bring to the table and show what they're capable of. Um, I think at one stage it was televised. I don't know if it still is. Varsity Cup might be just the finals, but um, it gave people a platform to then play on TV where you then reach however many citizens that are then viewing the game. So I think it is a good stepping stone and a good platform to then show what you can do. Um, and I mean, if you're playing at varsity level, you're then playing against all the other varsities. So then you're kind of testing players on the level that you're currently playing at, and then it will show then who is of a higher level or higher quality. So yeah, I think it benefits a lot of players. The only thing is that the varsity cup is T20 cricket, and
Yeah.
then you get selected for future cup SA school side, SA varsity side that plays T20 cricket.
Mm.
Then on the other hand, it's also hard to make club sides play 3-day cricket.
Yeah.
I mean, these are guys that are working throughout the week and then have to, because at one stage club cricket was 2 days. So imagine you're playing a back to back. You work hard the whole week, Monday to Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday you have to play a 2-day game, which is tough because then you don't really get much of a break.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, that's why cricket's gone or been voted back to 50 over cricket in the Western Cape. And then at varsities or club cricket, you then play club champs. If you win your club league, you then go to play club champs, and then from there, uh, for example, that's only 50 over cricket. So there's not a tremendous amount of multi-day cricket that's being played, and that's why provincial 3-day cricket and franchise 4-day cricket is important if you want to then um, establish players that are capable of playing at the highest level, which is for the national side.
Yeah.
The only thing would then be whether you go to, what's it, 14 provinces versus 6 franchises. That's a debate that I don't think I'm well equipped enough to then take
Yeah.
part in because I don't know what the landscape of that conversation is.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to sign off with one of the most popular talking points in the comments. Dan, one of our writers, actually, he spoke earlier about it. He said that that stosh that you have is going to add 7 to your average. We've got another guy asking you to explain that caterpillar on your lip, and we've got also Ibrahim. He's gonna always comment that he wants you to explain that stosh.
Yeah, well, me as a person, uh, kind of like to keep my hair tidy, facial hair is clean. Um, but then I was in India when it first started. When I was like, okay, I'm away for close to 2 months. I'm away. I've got no one to impress here. I've got no one to look well presented for. I have no uh, real live chats with anyone, and so I kind of started there, and I grew my kind of like a box beard, and I enjoyed it. Like the teammates were like, "Wow, this is different," but I didn't care at the time. And now lockdown is kind of in place, and I thought, why not? I'll just grow a bit of a Mexican or Colombian Pablo look, and then yeah. my hair is obviously gonna grow out for the next 2 weeks again. So you never know. It's tough times. We're kind of going into caveman territory here. So I'm just rocking it. Not really worrying about anything, to be fair.
I think if you were in America now, you would be pulled in a lot of people's house. Anyway. Okay, so lastly, um, just give a last word to the cricket fanatics fans out there. Yeah, just a message out to them. They've been obviously asking for this interview, and yeah, thank you for actually giving us the opportunity to talk to you. So, just a message to them.
Um, to all the cricket fanatics fans out there, uh, from me, I'd just like to say thank you for your continued interest and in the cricket in South Africa, and for the support of the players and teams thereof. Um, your interest in the sport and your support is what us players kind of play for. We like to entertain people with kind of our skill set that we've worked hard for over the years, and I understand that at the moment the terrain in South African cricket might be uh, not the greatest, but it's on the up, and we're working hard to kind of better the environment and give the fans what they want, which is good performances, good matches, and victories for South African cricket and the franchises thereof.
Thanks, Zubair. To the fans out there, guys, we're gonna have another live broadcast tomorrow. So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook. Obviously, press the notification bell because obviously that's when you're gonna get all the notifications straight to your phone as soon as we upload videos. We have a lot of exclusive content, a lot of unique content that we are putting out there as much as we can. We've got the full transfer list of the domestic season that's on our site, so please go check that out too. We'd like you guys to comment, give us your questions, etc. Like you did today. It was awesome. So thanks for all the continued support. Zubair, peace out, bro, and I'll see chat to you again.
Perfect. Keep on. Bye.
See you.
Sorted.
Yes.